meet you with a great spirit to learn. At this video, I want to help you to prepare your TOEFL test. First, we will learn grammar. There will be some lessons that I will give you in some videos. Okay, now let's begin with the first lesson. It's about subject and predicate. In every sentence, you need subject and predicate. Subject is the main topic and the predicate is a part of the sentence that contains verb that explain the subject. I repeat, the predicate must explain the subject. Now I will give you some sentences with various structure to be analyzed. Which is the subject and which is the predicate. Okay, number one, the trees along this entrance are about 50 years old. The trees along this entrance is the subject. Are is the predicate. Are, this is to be. Is, am, are, and be. Are they predicate? Yes. They are also auxiliary. They become they function as the auxiliary when you make a continuous tenses. But if there is no verb 1 they function as the predicate. Here you will learn about a kind of sentence. You have two kinds of sentences, non-verbal sentence and verbal sentence. In non-verbal sentence, you don't need verb, but verbal sentence, you need verb. This sentence, number one, it doesn't contain the verb. That's why it is called non-verbal sentence. Non-verbal sentence, you have predicate, that is to be. Let's check whether this predicates or not. Predicate always relates to tenses. If we can change the tense of the predicate, so this is the real predicate. In this sentence, we have are. It is simple present. Then we have, or we can change into have been. It is simple present perfect. Or you can have were. The trees along this entrance were. So, it is proven that are here in this sentence functions as the predicate. You may have like this. The trees along this entrance are. Oh, this is subject and then this is predicate. It's enough. It is not enough if the predicate is to be, because it is not meaningful. The trees along this entrance are. And then what? It seems that it is not complete. That's why we need a complement. There are three complements that follow the to be: adjective, noun, and adverb of place. You can find this in my video. The trees along this entrance are about 50 years old. Or you can have it like this: the trees along this entrance are old enough. So this is adjective. Okay. And then the second, everyone in this apartment gets along very well. Everyone in this apartment is the subject, and then gets is the verb. So it is easier for us because we find verb. That's why this sentence is called verbal sentence. Gets, this is in simple present. Can be changed into another tense? Of course. Will get, or you can have got. It is easier. How about the next? May this information be forwarded to some groups? This is a question because we have a question word, a question mark here. This comes from the positive one. This information may be forwarded to some groups. Look at these structures. There is be and forwarded. This is passive because we have be and verb 3. Whenever you have be plus verb 3, it should be passive. You can learn also in my video about passive voice. And then we use the auxiliary here. This is the modal auxiliary or the modal verb. to show. We use modal verb when we want to tell or to express a certain expression like possibility, ability, etc. In this sentence, it is about the permission, or it can be possibility. So when we want to change this positive into the question, you just put may in front of the subject. Then it is a question. Okay. The next is, how does big community mold someone's personality? It is a question again because there is a question word, a question mark here. How does, and you have a question word here, but the auxiliary is different. We have this one. Big community molds someone's personality. It is in positive. Remember that this is simple present with s. Why? Because it is singular noun. When it is singular noun and you have to change into the question, you need an auxiliary. It depends on the subject. If the subject is singular, you have does. If the subject is plural, you have do. So you just use does here. Big community is singular. And you must pay attention when you have already put does here, you must omit the s, so mold, not molds. That's why it is important to remember that does replaces s, so s here is omitted. Okay, next. When will you be using the meeting room, sir? When? And question. So it is a question again. This is a question. And we have when. You can have when, you can have how, you can have many kinds of question word or WH question. But what is the difference with this is only the tense. Here you need does, while in the does doesn't appear in positive sentence. But for number 5, it is the same as the previous sentence with may. It is the auxiliary verb, so you just put will in front of the subject or ahead of the subject. Will you be using? You will be using. This is present, future, continuous. You just put will in front of the subject. You don't need be to be moved here. No. If you have more than one auxiliary, just put the first auxiliary in front of the subject. Okay, the next. Number 6. He has all students record their speech. Has and record. There are two verbs. Which one is the predicate? Of course, this one. Why not this? I just tell you that record, the predicate always explain the subject. Record explain the students, while the students is not the subject. The students is object. That's why record is not the predicate. The predicate is has. This sentence contains the causative verbs. So in causative verbs, you should have another verb like this, active causative. Yeah, you causative verbs are like have, make, let, get. Yeah, so in causative you will have two verbs like this. Okay, the next. Who will be through the final must be selected well. Who will be through to the final? There is a question word here, but there is no question mark. Yes, because this is not a question. This is positive. How can? Because this is noun clause. Noun clause is a clause that replaces the noun. The noun is here. Because the question word here is who, so the noun is persons. The contestants must be selected well. the contestant must be selected well. So the contestant is changed into the noun clause who will be through to the final. So the function of the question word here is not as the to ask about something or about someone, but who here function as the conjunction. When you have a subclause, you need conjunction to join to the main clause. So the main clause is this, must be selected. That's why must be selected is the predicate, while will be here is the predicate for the noun clause. Actually, you can have this. What the children will do for this semester must be selected well. It is okay. As far as the meaning matches, it's alright. But I want to show you that you may not have the question form in or for the noun clause. You cannot have what will the children do, but you must have it in positive, what the children will do. Okay. Number 8, the adventures that the students had in the Jurassic Park gives them much knowledge and fun. The subject is so it's long enough, yes, because there is adjective clause here. The students had blah 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 to explain the adventure. So the main clause is the adventure gives them much knowledge. That's why it is in singular, the adventure. And don't forget, because this is the main verb, this is not the main verb because it is the verb or the predicate for the clause. If you have a complex sentence with noun clause, adjective clause, adverbial clause, so the main predicate is from the main sentence. Okay, number 9. Young people craving in-depth knowledge and expertise in science areas are recommended to go to university for the better facilities in gaining it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 verbs. Craving, it is like a continuous sentence. No, because there is no to be here. Yeah, this also, there is no to be here. So actually, this is the same as this one. This is adjective clause. Young people who crave, it is adjective clause. And then we shorten the form, become present participle, then it explains young people. That's why it is not the main predicate. It is not the predicate. The predicate is here. Young people are recommended. And then to go is to infinitive. And then gaining, the gaining here is gerund. Gerund is actually in present participle, verb 1 plus aim, but the position or the function is different from this one. This is as noun because it is after the preposition. Gerund, the same as noun clause. The position of noun clause, the position of gerund is the position of noun. Okay. Learning is the best key for us to improve. Learning is the best key. Is it present continuous? Of course not, because the position, the structure is different. If you have present continuous, you will have like this. She is learning. She is learning. So there is subject. But here, learning function as the subject. So the verb function as the subject. It is like what I told you before in number 9, that what function when a verb function as the subject, as the object, or as noun, the position is the same as the noun, it is called gerund. So learning is gerund. You can find or you can learn about gerund in my videos. So learning is the best key for us to improve. The predicate is. Next, due to the symbol of human civilization, There are quite a view of facilities for living, education, healthcare, and recreation found in big cities. Oh, long enough. Yes. So, found here is not the main verb because it comes from which are found. Facilities which are found. So, this adjective clause explain facilities. That's why it is not the main verb. The main verb is here, or the predicate is this one. There, it is a kind of structure of a sentence showing the existence. Yeah, that's why the possession of the subject and the predicate is reversed. That's why the possession is here are auxiliary and then the subject, the same as the possession, the structure of question. That's why later we will learn about inversion. Yeah, it is called inversion. And then how to prove that this one is the verb or the predicate and this one is the subject. You can see this. There are quite a few. Quite a few means many. That's why we use are. And then if we have a modern facility, this is only one. It means that there is means that this is the singular one. Number 12. Cities considered to be the source of pollution are still people's preference to have the better quality of life. Cities considered to be the source of pollution. This is the same as this one, which found. Cities which are considered to be the source of pollution are still people's preference. So, this is adjective clause. Don't be trapped by the noun that is near to the predicate. Pollution, it should be is. No, because we have this. Or don't be trapped with this. Consider it's like a simple past. Try to understand. This is simple past. But there is to be here. That's why you must check like this. Yeah, which are considered. So this is called the past participle, the same as this. Yeah, this is from adjective clause that is shortened into the past participle. Okay, the next is number 13. It is important for young people to understand that they shouldn't depend on luck. Actually, this sentence is from this. To understand that they shouldn't depend on luck is important for young people. To understand, or you can have gerund, understanding that they shouldn't depend on luck is important for young people. Of course, in this structure, this one is the subject. But it is not commonly used, especially in formal writing. People choose this one. It is important. That's why you just put to understand here or understanding after the young people here, after this. So put it here. Then we need subject. The subject is it, always it. So it doesn't mean anything or it doesn't refers to anything. That's why it is called impersonal it. When you have impersonal it, it is still considered as the subject and this is the predicate. Okay, number 14. In the Forbidden City Museum are a large variety of historical treasures and artworks which visitors can learn the Chinese culture from. Actually, this comes from this. A large variety of historical treasure and artworks which visitors can learn the Chinese culture from are in the Forbidden City Museum. I hope that you still remember number 1. In number 1, you have the non-verbal sentence. It means that to be is the predicate. And in the predicate, because to be as the predicate, you need complement. So in this sentence, the complement is adverb of place. If you have adverb of place, you can put the adverb of place first, and then you have the auxiliary and you have the subject. You will learn later this in the inversion. Again, the form is, or the structure is almost the same as in question or in there. Yeah, you have the auxiliary here in front of the subject. Okay, the next is being part of our life. Museums are now designed to be more attractively and interactively being part of our life. There is comma here. Surely that this is not the subject. So the subject is this one. You can have this. You can put this in this position. Museums being part of our life. So it is like adjective clause. So this almost the same as adjective clause, but in a shortened way. Museum being part of our life are now designed. That's why the subject is museums and the predicate is are now designed. I hope that you understand about this kind of sentences with various structure. We will learn this in detail in my other lessons, in the following lessons. Okay, why not try an exercise. Okay, correct the sentences. There are a lot of information about types of vaccines produced by some countries in the internet. There are a lot of information there, remember? Okay, so yes, the subject is this one. And then no, it is not this one. The predicate is not produced because it is from, yes, it is adjective clause, vaccines which are produced by some countries. That's why this one is the predicate. But why we have to correct this sentence? Because a lot of information, the subject is uncountable. That's why we have is. Okay. Then number 2, his decisions always triggers conflicts among his staff. The subject? Okay, this one. And the predicate, this one. Correct. Then what's wrong? Okay, this one. Decisions. It is more than one. Plural. That's why it should be trigger without S, because this is simple present. Okay. The next, how long this nation used this symbol for their state? It seems that there is something wrong or missing. Yes, we need here auxiliary because this is a question. Suppose we have has, or you can have did. How long did this nation use? It is okay. Or you have how long has this nation used? How long has this nation used? It is alright, but I prefer this because due to the meaning, yeah, this symbol, it means that it is still right now. It is still used right now. That's why I prefer simple present perfect. Okay, the next. Where the most densely packed lion population is found, Ngoro-Ngoro crater. Is it right? Of course. Oh no. Because, you see, this is passive to be plus verb 3. Then you have noun. You cannot have noun after the passive. You cannot have noun after the passive. So, like this, unless you have this, by. That's why what is missing is here. Where the most densely packed lion population is found is Ngoro-Ngoro crater. Or you can check like this. Ngoro-Ngoro crater is where the most densely packed lion population is found. Yeah. Okay, the next is, I think this is the last. A complex social group where lions live consists of about 6 adult females, their dependent offspring, and a coalition of 2 or more adult males. It sounds correct. Oh yes, it sounds correct. But why there are two predicates here? To, live, and consist. Yes, there are two because live here is the predicate for the noun clause. For the adjective clause. Where lions live. This is the adjective clause that explains this one. So what's wrong then? What is wrong is this one. Because the subject is a complex social group. It's only one group, singular. That's why you need S, consist. Okay, I hope that you understand from what I explained. Again, if you need to prepare more, I will give you a lot of videos for the other lessons. And if you need more information or more explanation about kinds of tenses, about kind of sentences, and etc., you can come to my website, this one. And you can find my videos there also. Okay, see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.